once you're free to, be whoever you want to be in the game, it helps you kind of sink into that character.
It's a cool way to be to, attract those like-minded people.
Something nerdy is gonna happen, and we're gonna make it cool, I think.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talkin Nerdy on Outside of the Box. And as you all know, I've been doing a lot of gaming episodes lately, and I think that the combat robotics world and gaming, there's a lot of similarities. In fact, as my robotics friends know, there's robot builders who have used Steam Decks and all sorts of things like that as controllers for robots. So the two pair very well. But my guest today is ThatGuyNova on Twitch. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Great. Well, I'm very curious to hear about, your streaming background and the games that you play, because they're definitely different than what I'm used to. And I kind of love hearing about things that maybe I don't know a lot about because I'm just a curious person. So first of all, before we get into the games and things like that, tell me how you got started in doing, the Twitch stuff.
Okay, well, that's not too crazy of a story, to be honest. I was like a big console gamer for years. I played a lot of Xbox or PlayStation, a stupid amount of Halo. And then it was around 2018, I think, maybe 17. I started getting really heavy into playing PUBG on my computer. I had bought myself a gaming laptop because I traveled quite a bit for just personal reasons. And if I was stuck in an airport or a hotel room, then I had my laptop to game on. And like I played Diablo, StarCraft, like, nothing too crazy. I think PUBG might have been the most demanding game I played at that point in time. And then I just started really watching Twitch streams and like Stone Mountain 64 playing like PUBG and getting really into that game. And I got almost, I want to say, too addicted to that game. Like even now, that game, I looked at my Steam records the other day, we were talking about it. I still have more hours in that game alone than I do in anything else I've played. And I've played a lot of other, well, I can't say that. I can't find my records for Diablo 2 because that game is way too old. But that's what started that. I was like, I wanted to get into streaming and just doing that. It was definitely PUBG that started it. And I went through like 3 name changes before I came up with ThatGuyNova TV, which again was just because the way I like the content and stuff that I want to produce and put out wasn't just gaming related content. Like I'm big into movies. Like well, you can probably see like there's a bunch of Avenger stuff, Star Wars over there. Like I'm a big movie buff. I love television. So the whole like ThatGuyNova TV thing came from like I wanted to do like, trailer reactions and movie reviews and show reviews. And, I have a whole list of I call them like B-list movies, like stuff that people that don't ever see that they're like, oh, I've never heard of that because it wasn't a blockbuster movie. And they're like, and I'm like, yeah, but it's a great movie. You should give it a chance. Like it has like these big name actors that were in it that, a lot of people look at Tom Hardy, for example, and they see him as Bane, for instance. Like that, a lot of people are like, that's where I knew Tom Hardy from. I'm like, I knew Tom Hardy from Star Trek. And everyone's like, he wasn't in Star Trek. And I'm like, I'd pull out my VHS of Star Trek Nemesis. I'm like, he is literally the bad guy in this movie. And they're like, there's no way that's him. And they're like, there's no way that's him. He's a beast in this movie, and he's a skinny little twig in this movie. I'm like, steroids. But like that, and that's what I want to do with my channel. But at first it was like trying to even get into gaming and try to figure out how OBS was a monster on its own and try to figure out. And then like my old computer, well, I built this computer, but I was using that laptop running a second monitor and a keyboard off of that, trying to stream with it. It was crashing like all the time. getting very off put by the whole thing, watching my content and then looking at other people's content, and it's like, it's not there. I gotta elevate this a little bit more. So I built a gaming PC, which is what I'm using now. And even looking back at some of my stuff, like when I raid into other channels, when I'm getting off Twitch, and I know there's this one guy that I raid on a regular basis, but whenever I raid him, he does a shout out and it'll come up and it'll show like an old clip on my channel. And I'm like, oh my God, look how bad that was. Like just the clip in general. And I'm like, that's really funny. And it's really nice to kind of see, you know, my own personal growth over the years of streaming and like where the content started and where it came from. But that's like, as to getting into streaming, like that was just, I went through some big personal changes in my life. Like I went through a really bad, I want to say divorce, but we're never actually married. And then it was, you know, trying to figure out my place in the world. And I spent a lot of time home. And I met a bunch of people through online communities that, you know, again, really supportive, and you build friendships that way. And like, even now, like I can firmly say like one of my best friends in the face of the earth lives in the States. And like, he's been up a couple times visiting. He was actually just here last month, but like, he's one of my closest friends. And even like my mom, she doesn't understand that. She's like, how can you have a friend in the States? And I'm like, Mom, it's 2024. Like, it's not the same as people, you know, across the street from you going like, hey, can you come play tag? We don't do that anymore. We're adults. We're like, hey, do you want to play Call of Duty or something like that? And it really kind of like helped me. And then just watching what other people, like I'll use Still Mountain again as another example. Just, I really find his content very genuine, and like his community is very good. And, you know, just like-minded people like that. And it's, you know, what, not just what they do for themselves, but like for everybody else. Like that's what I've always did with my stream and my channel, is like every single bit of revenue that I've gotten. Okay, sorry, can't say every single bit, but I can definitely say like 80% of revenue I gotten from my stream has gone back into my stream. Like it has gone to rating other channels, supporting other channels, gifting subs to other channels. Like, but that's what I would use. I had all of that stuff go into one pot. And then, you know, occasionally if I had like a goal set up, it's like, oh, hey guys, like we're going to do a goal to get me a new camera, and that goal to reach. And then I'd get the camera, I'd share it with my community, be like, hey man, like, thanks, you know, everybody coming together, doing this, like, it's really going to elevate the content. And then, but on the other note, like the gifts, you know, not the gift of subs, but like the bits and whatever else they get, but like all of that other stuff, I would just turn around and I would gift that to other channels and other smaller people growing. And it was like, that really helped kind of, you know, boost my stuff. Like I never understood why people, you know, small channel people would raid into bigger channels. It's like, you don't do that. You raid into smaller channels and you grow that way. Right. Cause then you get those people that have, you know, 3 or 4 viewers, and you're raiding into them with like 50 or 60. And then they're like, oh, that guy seems like a nice guy, I'm going to follow him. And then the people that you're raiding into, they're like, oh, I'm going to follow you this too. Right. So it's all like give and take. And that's what I loved about it. That's what really got me into it, was that sense of community.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. And I think that I relate to so much of, you know, what you talked about in terms of like your rationale for even naming your channel and things like that. Because I mean, you know, for me, when I came up with doing this podcast, even though it always has been and will continue to be very heavily focused on combat robotics, because that's, you know, what it's, you know, started with, I always knew that there was a possibility that because I have so many other interests, that it could spill out into some other things. And so I wanted to make sure that like I came up with a name that could extend possibly beyond just that. And that's kind of where outside of the box came from, because that could mean so many things. But yeah, I love the, you know, the thought of community, because really that's what I'm all about too, is just continuing to grow and to take, you know, these people that may not know about this thing and then kind of merge the interests. And I think that that's the best way to grow. So that's pretty amazing. Now, in terms of what you play, obviously, you know, from kind of your channel description and talking about like your name and like it being a call sign, and that's obviously like a heavy throw into Halo, and it sounds like that was a really big game for you. I want to talk about that, and also just because you mentioned about like, you know, being interested in different forms of media, we talked a little bit about it before we started the podcast, but Red versus Blue, you know, I think is just a great example of a gateway into people who may not play the game Halo, but it gives you a taste of that and kind of does it in a very humorous and entertaining way. And I mean, that's what I'm familiar with. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, if people really want to get to know Halo, they can definitely get more of an experience with Red versus Blue than the actual Paramount show. Like, that's like, I was such a massive Halo fan that my PC name is actually John 117. Like, it's literally what I encoded the PC as. And my, where's my thing at? Oh, it's up top there. I have, hold on, I'll grab it. So back to the name thing. So when I first got into streaming, I tried to use a funny name, not really a funny name, but like something that like, I was trying to find a name that instilled, like, was unique and was like kind of instilled who I am. So my last name is Kraus. There's a German spelling for it, which is Kraus, and Kraus is a curly haired individual. Now you can see I don't have hair, but if I did have hair, it was curly. I did have long hair at one point in time, curly as anything. And then Bane, also being one of, you know, my favorite DC characters, the meaning of Bane in general. And again, a curly hair could be a very nuisance. Like, Bane is a nuisance, right? So I came up with the name Krausbane. But my problem was rating it other channels or following other channels, nobody could pronounce it. They would read that out and they're like, what is that saying? I'm like, this is not working for me. I don't like having to explain my name. So I came up with, because I'm from Nova Scotia, Canada, it's just where I'm from home. And then, so Nova S118 was my name for a long time. And then this is me with a Halo helmet that a random person that followed me was like, hey man, I love your content. I'm going to make you something, and made me this logo. And then my sister did this whole shadow box thing. So like, but the Nova S118, that was a whole, like, basically, you know, Master Chief is 117. So I'm Master Chief, you know, the next in line. That was the whole premise behind that, which it worked. But at the same time, a lot of either the games or the platforms, I couldn't have the numbers or certain letters, or it was just, it didn't really work. There were places where it wouldn't let me have Nova S118. It'd have to be either Nova underscore S118 or just Nova. And I'm like, I don't, again, this isn't really working for me, because I like, especially playing Call of Duty and how toxic that community is sometimes, I like having a name that people can find you. Right. So like, all of my social medias before everything, it was either like Nova.S118 or Nova underscore S118, or I am Spartan 118. That was my like long form kind of thing. And it wasn't working for me. So that's when I like really sat down. I was like, I need to do a whole rebrand. I need to do, like, I don't want to be a competitive looking gamer. Like, I'm not that kind of person. Like, you can go on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and you can find those, you know, overly competitive. They're just angry, sweaty, just, they take every game they play entirely way too seriously. That is not me. I literally wear this all the time playing video games, right? Like, I don't take, like, that's the best thing about what we do as a community too. And when I was playing Apex a lot, I played it with Jack Jacuz and Almighty Ginger. We would do these things called chat challenges every Friday night. And basically what chat challenge was the three of us would go into a game, and then our chat would dictate what weapons we got to have, right? So they would say like the Mozambique with a level 1 sight, and that was the only gun we were allowed to use that game. So the three of us would be running around with these guns that chat gives us, and we'd be getting wins. But then like we would beat these teams of like super sweats and they would come into our chat and be like, oh, you guys suck, this, that, and the other thing. We're like, we're just having fun and we beat you and you're taking it way too seriously. Like, which one of us sucks here? Hello, kind of thing. And that's what, like, with the name change that I went through, like when I came up with That Guy Nova TV, I am literally That Guy Nova TV on everything. It is the same tag on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Everything has That Guy Nova TV. So if you see a That Guy Nova TV in a lobby, you can YouTube it or even Google it for now, because I got that much content out that it will pop up. And that's what I want. It was like, I get, oddly enough, sometimes I get recognized even here in the city. Like there are people, I've been downtown and I was like, oh, you're the guy from TikTok. And I'm like, hey, yeah, that's me. Not mostly because of my gaming stuff, because of some other stuff that I do on the same TikTok channel. Like it's my personal TikTok channel. But it's still Nova. But I do like a bunch of like motivational stuff that's on there, work related stuff, content related stuff. Like it's just, it's everything. And that's why, like, some people are like, why don't you have two separate accounts? I have two separate Instagrams, right? But my Instagram account has like personal family stuff on it and like my pets and my address and like a bunch of other stuff. So like, that's why I don't really correlate the two of those together. But like my TikTok, it is a bunch of random stuff. And it really kind of showcases who I am as a person, because I think I'm a comedian sometimes, but I'm also like, I have a story to tell about my life experiences that, you know, could help others, which from what I've been told do help others. Because, you know, especially, you know, when it comes to mental health stuff and whatnot, like especially when it comes to men, like we don't talk about it very often. We don't talk about the breakups or the sad days and stuff like that. We just kind of shoulder it and go on with our day. But on my channel, I will talk about it, right? Like I have my own struggles with life. I am living by myself. I'm single. I went through some really bad breakups. It hasn't defined who I am, but like it's definitely part of me, and it's okay to talk about that stuff. So like that's just the kind of stuff that's on my TikTok channel. And that's what like it started blowing up. Like I got more followers and stuff and more views than anything on my TikTok channel than I do on Twitch. And I'm just like, can I take some of that and put it over here? Right? Like I've been trying to figure out how to get, like I've streamed on TikTok several times and it's been very good streams, but like with Twitch and being on TikTok in Canada and creator there, like it's really, really weird. So I keep putting stuff out on everything, but I like to have that one single name. But yeah, with Red versus Blue and Goose and everybody, like that is definitely a good way to get into Halo. And I have every single, where do you have to? Oh, they're over there. Like I literally still have my original Xbox copy of Halo, the Combat Evolved, the very first edition, the very first copy. Like it hasn't been open forever, but then I have the Combat Evolved that came out with on the 360, then the remastered on one. I have every single copy of Halo physical that you can think of. Best game ever.
I have actually played it, but maybe it's just one of those things that, you know, I found I'm not very good at it. And for some people, that's okay. But I'm also extremely competitive. And if I don't think that I can do well at something, then I just don't want to do it.
Yeah. I have a super competitive nature. Like and that's probably why I stopped playing Apex. Not a total reason. So me and one of the guys that I met, actually my friend there from the States, that's how we actually met, was playing Apex together. And me and him, not knowing each other at all, playing Apex a few times together, just we clicked. Like he would not have to tell me where to go or look over his shoulder to see if I was there. Like, you know, theoretically, but like we were in sync on everything. Like we just moved as a team. The only problem with Apex is trios. We can never find a solid third that meshed well with us. Like, I don't know if you've seen Pacific Rim or not. I'm assuming Robotics maybe, but like that's how I always pictured me and Fate, was in the Jaeger, me and him melded together, but then you try to throw a third person in there, it just didn't work. That's exactly how it works out for us. So we kind of fell off because me and him were both pushing for Predator. Like we would play ranked and we were always way up there. And then the couple people that we had as thirds, they weren't consistent enough. Like the one guy we played with constantly, like he was in Japan, so his schedule was completely opposite to ours, and he can only get a couple hours in, plus his lag versus our lag, and it would just it never really worked out. And then we had another friend of ours, he was also in the States, and like he's good at it, but like just consistency playing was never able to be there as much as we would like him to play. And then the skill-based matchmaking in that game, so you get somebody that's like, oh, I played that a few times, I'll play with you. Okay, we'll try this out. But it's like they're spending most of the time watching us trying to revive them. I'm like, this isn't working out for us anymore. So we played like other games. It's like, okay, no, let's go play Fortnite, something your speed. And that's okay, because Fortnite can get sweaty as hell too. But we were playing Apex and Fortnite and Call of Duty, and it's just like there's way too many games out there to kind of keep track of.
Yeah, there certainly are a lot of those types of games. What is it about that for you? Because I mean, obviously there's a variety of things that people play, but what is it about that type of game than say like a Souls game, for example?
So I've played Souls. Like I've actually been sitting out here this week playing Zelda: Link to the Past on my Switch, sitting on my couch, right? Like I love playing solo games. And there's nothing wrong with solo games. It's just sometimes, like, especially, my sister's also a gamer. My brother's also a gamer. Like there's a lot of us, and it's just like that group setting. There's 4 of us in a Discord chat shooting the shit. And it's like we all can't play Zelda together. Well, I guess we could play four swords, but when it comes to games like Last of Us or other solo games, it's a community thing. Like, but at the same time, I do get burnt out playing these shooters. Like, you can only take so much Call of Duty. Like, Call of Duty is not a good game by any means. It's literally just the fact that you have a squad, you're 4 friends, and you're playing these games, and that's it, right? Like, I don't play them to take it seriously. I've literally, like, there are TikTok videos out there of me using like just a riot shield and like a flame throwing shotgun just to make people angry. That is like I don't go in it to win. I go in it to make somebody angry, and I succeed at it on a regular basis. So for me, that's a win, right? But like, I do love playing. Like there was Jedi Survivor. That was a fantastic game. Solo, love playing that game. But it's people come to, especially with Twitch, and I think it was just like our community for the most part, like where me and my buddy Fate, we were playing Apex and streaming Apex. Our community was centered around that kind of competitive game. So they would come in and watch us. So like me and him have had several chats about it too, because he's also taken a little bit of time off. Like I've had the last little bit of time off, and me and him and talking, he's like, man, I don't know if I can get back into it. I'm like, yeah, I'm on the same boat. I'm working on it, but like, I don't want to do what we did before. I don't want to play Call of Duty every night or, Fortnite every night. Like I want to play a range of games, and I don't want to play every day. Like I got burnt out from doing that before. Right. So like, and I was like, there are solo games out there that I would like to stream and play. Cause like I've watched, like we have Cal, mutual friend. I've watched his streams playing like Elden Ring, and I'm like, that like he's having a good time vibing with it. His chat's going good. Like that's something that is achievable. But like we also turn around, and then it's like, oh, I don't feel like playing Call of Duty tonight, and they're like, well, you want to go play like Sea of Thieves or something? It's like, oh, that's a mind-numbingly stupid game. Yeah, let's do that. Right? Like it's just like, that makes sense. And then you're still hanging out with the 4 or 5 people in your Discord chat, just having a good time, sailing ships around. And but yeah, like we do play entirely way too many first person shooters, and I would love to change that up, play other games, but other games don't come out near enough. Like they don't put out enough content for Sea of Thieves to keep me entertained. Like the last cool thing they really did was the whole Pirates of the Caribbean thing. And like, Pirates of the Caribbean being one of my favorite movies of all time, that was like, hey, awesome, let's go do this Jack Sparrow stuff. But there's definitely, and then everything's just really expensive lately, right? Like Elden Ring, really expensive game to play solo. And I'm like, should I spend this much money to play Elden Ring by myself, or should I spend this much money to play like Diablo 4 or Call of Duty or something else? You know, because not everything's a free game like Fortnite and Apex, which I don't understand why they're not, but I don't make the rules.
Exactly. Now I see that you have quite a bit of Pokemon paraphernalia.
Love Pokemon.
You, what is your favorite Pokemon game?
Oh, well, so that's that's an easy one for me, and not for any reason other than the straight up just nostalgia of the time that they came out. But Pokemon Yellow was my favorite. Like I have friends like that are up, like they can sit there and be like, oh, Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, this one, blah blah blah, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Right? I like the cards, I like the collectibles, I like certain things. I actually have a giant Cubone sitting right there, and there's a giant Eevee behind me. But like, I do like Pokemon, and Pokemon Yellow for me was like the Game Boy Color version, and I had that Game Boy Color that had the backlit screen. It was like, what a time to be alive! And then now I have something here that runs more than my computer, pretty much. It's like just for me. But that was the one that, you know, Pikachu finally started following you around. I'm like, yes, that's. But for me, that was my favorite. And I do have the new Violet. I haven't played all of them. Like I didn't play Emerald or Ruby, but like the original ones, I love the original ones for me.
Yeah, there definitely is. There's that aspect of nostalgia. I mean, for me, I guess I never played any of the original ones. I came to Pokemon very late in my life, but I've pretty much been very into it ever since. So I guess it probably depends on when people got introduced to it as to what is the most meaningful for them.
Oh yeah, no, I remember like it's going to show my age a little bit there, but I remember when the first Pokemon like Red and Blue came out, and I had it for my first Game Boy, and then sitting in the back of the car on the road trip, you could only play until the light went down because those things weren't backlit, and then having to buy like this weird contraption that went over my Game Boy that put a light on the screen so I could play it. Like that's what I remember. And when that's what I mean when Pokemon Yellow came out and the Game Boy Color, I had the backlit screen, like that was, times were good then.
Yes, technology has certainly come quite a ways since then, for sure.
It's pretty wild sitting there playing like the new Pokemon Violet on my HD screen in my hand. Like that game's been a lot of fun. I still haven't beat it yet, but again, I get too distracted. Like I'll play a game. To be honest, I still haven't beat Breath of the Wild either. So like I'll play a game forever, like, and then something will come out and I'll be like, oh, squirrel over here. I'll play that for a bit, and then I won't pick it back up for a while. And then I picked up Breath of the Wild again. It was a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I don't remember what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And I ran around for like an hour to try to like catch my bearings, and I was like, I'm gonna do. And that's when I got the new Zelda, or the old Zelda game, and I was like, oh, I remember this. I'll play this for a little bit, and I've been having a blast playing that, you know, reminiscing.
Yeah, no, I totally understand the whole like distraction, like playing a game and then, oh, there's this game. It's just the way that it works when, you know, when you're a pretty heavy gamer, I suppose. Now, as far as your channel goes, do you have, other than like what you've been doing, do you have any you know, different plans for anything moving forward, or is it just, you know, you're kind of going with the system that you have now for it?
I've been looking at changing some things up. Like, I've been doing research and trying to figure out how to multi-stream to Twitch and TikTok at the same time. Because like I would like to do more of, you know, IRL stuff. Like I recently got a new tattoo there last week, and I would have liked to stream getting that done. But at the same time, like my friend, Mr. Weisborg, anytime we streamed, like as a group, if we set a schedule for it, was always a running joke in our Discord too. If we set a schedule, like, okay, live at 7, like let's do this, right? So we would be in the Discord, and me, Fate, my sister, we would have everything loaded up, ready to go. We're live at 7 o'clock. Pork would get live, and we always laugh. We're like, he's not done his intro yet. Like, we always called him like Geoffrey Chaucer from like The Knight's Tale. He had to do these elaborate intros that were always like 20 minutes long. And I was like, you know what? No, that's working for him, because like he's engaging with the chat. Chat is going nuts for it. Like, I love it. Like, that man could like read Lord of the Rings to me, and I'd love it. Like, his voice is that of an angel. So that's fine. But I want to get more into, I would love to sit there and like, I was thinking about getting a channel set up in our Discord. Like, we have our own separate sub channels, and telling my community, hey, listen, like Mondays when I go live, we're going to do like an hour of just like random funny TikTok videos. Like, send me what you think is funny. Don't send me anything like sexually weird or racist or, whatever, just like actually funny. And we're going to go live and we're going to flip through them. And we're going to like rate them or whatever. Right. And just like have fun with doing that kind of stuff. And like, I don't really want to talk about like live new, world events, because a few things you don't ever talk about on stream would be, religion or politics. Like, nope. Those are things you just leave out, because everyone's got a really wicked view on those. But I would like to, again, like get into more like movie reviews and like like I've done a couple trailer reactions, and even when I did the trailer reactions, like I did a trailer reaction for Obi-Wan when that series was announced, and I did it on Twitch, or not Twitch, but on I did a video and posted on TikTok, and the amount of people that sent me like DMs, and you're like, man, like this, like you need to do this more often. This was great. I loved it. And I was like, cool. And I think it was actually, it might've been Deadpool. Yeah, it was the Deadpool and Wolverine announcement when they actually had Hugh Jackman back and Ryan Reynolds when they first announced it. Like, I did a reaction video for that, and it was just like, that went nuts. I did a video for the Acolyte, yeah, the new Star Wars one. And like that video still, like I still get hate messages from that video, and I didn't say anything wrong about it. I just was like, I made a joke about Knights of the Old Republic and this show, and it was nothing negative about the show, and people were like, oh, you don't like it for this reason. I'm like, that's not what this was saying, but anyways, thank you. But stuff like that really gets people going, and it really, it gives my channel a different audience, not just Call of Duty, Apex, first person shooter games, right? Like my TikTok channel has people that follow me for the motivational stuff that I've posted, the random funny, because I'm a mechanic in real life. So I have a lot of like really funny, like mechanic meme kind of videos. And some of those have kind of gone nuts, but that really, because there are people that might not play, Call of Duty or Apex for those content that I post, but they might play something else that I posted, but not follow my channel for no reason, but might be a mechanic and then get my channel that way. And like, oh, this guy's a gamer too. Okay, cool. I'll follow him here, follow him there. It's just to spread myself out and pull people in. So I like, but for the most part, I would like to do like, I'd say 50% gaming, 50% other random stuff. I was really big into doing Lego builds. So that's one thing I wanted to do, was actually set up a section supposed to be in this room, but I don't know if it's going to happen in this room, but like, and have another camera set up so I can record myself doing Lego builds, and then do like either not necessarily stream those, but, make, not stop motion, but time lapse videos of those being done. So like, that's the kind of stuff that I would like to get back into. And even right now, like my sister, she started a 3D printing business, which is pretty fun, and I've been helping her out with that. And I would like to do some, me and her were talking about doing some like IRL streams at shows, and she's doing like she's selling them at markets and stuff that are here local to us, and streaming some of that stuff. And I was like, listen, you need to set up a camera when you're doing these prints and do this stuff. And I was like, I'll help you with this, and blah blah blah. But like, that's the kind of stuff that I would really like to get into with my channel more than just gaming.
Yeah, no, I think that that's awesome that you're doing that. Now I have to ask you, because based on the timing of when I'm recording this, as somebody who likes movies and likes Marvel, what are your current feelings on the upcoming Wolverine versus Deadpool movie?
I have oh I am beyond excited for it. I have some reservations about it because as the MCU, you know, started with Iron Man and the end of Endgame, and even after Endgame with Spider-Man, it was kind of like, you know, those 25 movies over the last decade that we've had, that was one hell of a story. Like, I don't think, and that's what a lot of people have a problem with right now with everything that they've been putting out. They're like, the Marvels. The Marvels was a good movie, regardless of what anybody says. I like the Marvels. It was a fun movie. Was it Endgame or Infinity War level? No, it wasn't supposed to be. It's not that kind of threat yet, right? They have to build up from what happened in Endgame and the end of Thanos, and they got to build it back up. And people aren't giving them the chance. Like, they don't really understand that if you take the Marvels and say Thor 2, weigh those two movies together. Which one wins? The Marvels, hands down. Thor 2 was a train wreck, but back then it wasn't terrible. It was just bad compared to what they had produced at that time, being like Iron Man and Captain America, the first Thor movie, which was good. But like, people got to stop expecting every single movie to come out to be Infinity War Endgame, because like those two movies, Kevin Feige, like they did something there. They set a precedent that I don't think anybody expected. Like, when Endgame, or sorry, not Endgame, but when Infinity War ended, I was sitting in theater the first time I saw it going, did that just fucking happen? Like, what did I just watch? Why is the credits rolling? The movie's not over yet. Like, everybody's dead. No, this doesn't I didn't know where they were going with it. I was floored. That actually, for the first time in a long time, floored me. And with Deadpool and Wolverine supposed to be like a soft reboot to the MCU, I'm kind of like, I'm a little worried what that means, right? Like, we have Tony Stark giving his life, finishing Iron Man's career, or Robert Downey Jr.'s career in the MCU. There's no more Iron Man. I don't want them to to do a reboot and be a new universe with a new Iron Man. Like, we already had the perfect Iron Man. We already had the perfect Captain America, right? Like, those people that at the end of Endgame that are no longer with us, like those stories were perfect. They do not to be retold. I would like to see a new Black Panther, but I understand stuff there, like Chadwick Boseman passing away and him being the perfect role for the guy. But again, the Black Panther is a character, not a person, to a point. It's the kind of the same reason why, Sam is now taking over as Captain America, which that trailer looked amazing. Cannot wait to see that. But I have so much hope for this movie, just because Ryan Reynolds is an amazing actor. He's an amazing Deadpool. The last time we saw these two together in a movie was that atrocious version of Deadpool, which, even watching that movie, I can remember sitting in a theater when that movie came out and going, what the is this? Right? Like, I'm like, no, this is not Deadpool. This is bad. And going like, that movie was good up until Deadpool came out. And it was like, now this movie completely sucks. Like, that ruined that entire experience. And now we have Hugh back, and he's in the yellow suit. The amount of cameos we have in this, and right now we have a poll in our Discord about like who Lady Deadpool is, because like that's a big thing, because there's a lot of speculation, because like Taylor Swift's supposed to be in this movie. There was a picture with the director, Ryan, Hugh, Taylor, and Blake all together, and it's like, okay, is Blake in this movie too, or is just Blake being a good wife and hanging out there? And then we got the first full showing of Lady Deadpool, and it's like, okay, who is it? Is it Blake? Because I think it'd be awesome with Blake, because she is Ryan's biggest supporter. She's like, the two of them are just great together. I love everything that they do. Like, their banter back and forth, amazing people. And it's like, I would really like to see the two of them be like her to have that kind of cameo in this movie, supporting her guy who did everything he could to even have this movie happen. And like just what he alone has done with it, and literally being Marvel Jesus apparently. So I'm very, very hopeful that the movie's gonna be good. It's gonna be better than expected, but at the same time, I hope it doesn't rely too much on nostalgia and, you know, bringing back some old characters and just being nonsensical, because like we've already had that. Like, because frankly, like let's look at Thor and what they did there. So because Love and Thunder was an atrocious movie, but Ragnarok was good, had some heavy humor in it, but it still had, you know, implications to the MCU because it led into Infinity War. It was really, really good coming off of the Dark World, but Love and Thunder was just bad. It was horribly written. Christian Bale was underused. Gore the God Butcher, whatever, like he was in the comics, pivotal character, and the movie was just like, what? That was a weird creative way they went with that. But I'm really looking forward to Deadpool and Wolverine. Like it's up there for me. Like my expectation is way up, and if it doesn't meet it, I'm gonna be very sad.
Same. I feel very, very similarly to that. Now for people that, you know, want to follow you and check out what you're doing, where are the places that they can locate you at?
I am ThatGuyNova TV on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch. It's the same tag. I think I even have a Kick channel. I haven't used it yet, but it's all there.
Well, that makes it pretty easy.
Yeah, and that's why I went with that name.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I'm very curious to, you know, see where your channel goes, check out more of what you've been doing. I unfortunately always fall into the trap that I watch Cal a lot because you know, he was kind of my gateway into getting into Twitch. But yeah, I definitely want to check out some more of what everybody else is doing and stuff like that.
No, Cal's a great guy. Anytime he's in town, I make a point to make out with him. No, make out to see him. Make out to see him.
I hope he watches this because he's gonna love that.
Yeah, no, Cal, love you, buddy. But like bowling, come on.
Well, yeah, for, you know, for those who are watching this, please make sure that you check out ThatGuyNova on all of the channels, and please make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, share this podcast. You know, let me know what other types of guests you would like me to have on, and we'll be excited to see everybody next time. And thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.